welcome to session 2 of our lesson. We are looking at measures that the government can put in place to actually control air pollution. In the previous clip, you were able to watch the sources of renewable energy, mainly solar energy, wind power, and the like. So those forms of energy are renewable. And then the good thing with those sources is that they don't produce any pollutants, so they can be reused from one time to another. And the method is actually, we call it sustainable. It's actually sustainable. It can be used in the current scenario and can also be preserved for future generations. Number 4, as one of the control measures, is that the government can encourage the use of CFC-free aerosols and appliances. That means these aerosols and appliances like refrigerators that don't use chlorofluorocarbons. We mentioned that CFCs actually cause destruction of the ozone layer. Then number 5, we should be encouraging the use of biological control methods, especially in farming, in agricultural practices, to control pests, diseases, and weeds. Now this reduces the reliance on non-biodegradable chemicals. Now biological control methods means things like a farmer can carry out intercropping to minimize pests and diseases. You can also carry out, you can maybe use things like when you intercrop, use the minimum cases of weeds that could be common. You can intercrop maize and beans, and then that means that the pests that are common in plants in its specific particular part of plants can be eradicated by the other plant. Then that also intercropping also ensures that the utilization of different resources within the soil is also achieved. That also minimizes the application of inorganic fertilizers that contain most of the ingredients that are non-biodegradable. Then number 6, the government should also encourage the use of public means of transport, okay, as much as possible rather than using private cars. So this minimizes consumption of fossil fuels and emission of gas pollutants. So if you have fewer vehicles on our roads, that implies less consumption of fossil fuel, and subsequently there is more exhaust fuels that are being produced by these particular vehicles in form of pollutants. Then we should ban smoking in public places, definitely, because smoking also leads to air pollution. Then those people that are working out in factories, geocali sectors, workshops and the like, that generate a lot of loud noises should be encouraged to use earmuffs. Now earmuffs are meant to mask the noises and the sounds that are being generated from whatever action or whatever activities are being undertaken within the workshops. Now the earmuffs also ensure that you don't destroy your eardrums, and you are able to actually work in an environment that is less destructive to your hearing, at the same time that is not disruptive to those people around you. Then number 9, the masses should also be educated on the need for sustainable environmental management. That means we will be able to practice measures that are able to help us utilize the current environmental factors that we really find useful, as well as ensuring that the resources that we have can also be harnessed for future generations. Then lastly but not the least, the government should actually be a signatory to the global treaties on environmental conservation. So we have international treaties that govern our different environmental missions and conservation standards that we are supposed to practice to ensure that our habitats are also practiced in line with the regulations, and consequently we will be able to minimize the pollution effects. Now I want us to end up our session by looking at a clip that is going to summarize virtually all the causes of air pollution, the measures, the effects that in place, and then you'll be able to have a more clear-cut understanding of a summary of all the features that we discussed. Now let's watch the clip as we wind up our lesson. This may be on causes and effects of our condition.
Air pollution causes harmful effects on human health, buildings, infrastructure, plants, animals, and the climate. Let's look at the causes and effects of air pollution on human health. Smoke and dust cause breathing problems. Lead particles cause brain damage among children and babies. Asbestos particles cause lung cancer. Gases produced by factories such as sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide irritate the eyes and cause respiratory diseases such as bronchitis. Carbon monoxide causes headaches, intellectual disability, or death. Cigarette smoke contains tar, nicotine, and carbon monoxide, which cause lung cancer and respiratory diseases such as bronchitis, emphysema, and pneumonia. What are the causes and effects of air pollution on the climate? Sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide cause acid rain. Excessive carbon dioxide contributes to the greenhouse effect. Excessive chlorofluorocarbons, or CFC, cause the thinning of the ozone layer. Smoke, soot, and dust from factories, exhaust of vehicles, and open burning lead to haze. Let's look at some of the causes and effects of air pollution on plants and animals. Acid rain makes the soil acidic and less fertile. Acid rain makes the water acidic and kills aquatic life. Acid rain also destroys trees in the forest. Smoke and haze decrease the amount of sunlight that reaches the earth, which decreases the rate of photosynthesis. What are the causes and effects of air pollution on buildings and infrastructure? Dust and soot stain buildings. Acid rain corrodes concrete and limestone buildings and speeds up the rate of rusting in iron. There are various ways we can use to prevent or control air pollution, for example, through law enforcement, education, and the use of science and technology. Let's look at some of the ways to prevent and control air pollution under law enforcement. We can prohibit the building of factories in or near housing areas. Fines should be imposed on smokers who smoke in restricted areas. Owners of factories or vehicles that produce excessive smoke, and individuals who conduct open burning. How can education help to prevent and control air pollution? We can start by educating students to be aware of the dangers of air pollution and ways to prevent them. We can also organize anti-smoking campaigns. We need to encourage the public to walk or cycle, use public transport, or carpool. And lastly, what are the ways to prevent and control air pollution using science and technology? Use hybrid technology in vehicles to reduce air pollution. Install catalytic converters on vehicles to convert harmful pollutants into less harmful pollutants. Install filters in smoke chimneys at factories to trap pollutants before releasing the smoke into the air. Replace chlorofluorocarbons, or CFC, with ozone-friendly gases such as hydrochlorofluorocarbons, or HCFC. Encourage farmers to use biological controls to control pests instead of using pesticides.
That brings us to the end of our session today. We've been able to look at the ways and measures of look at the ways in which pollution occurs, different effects, and of course a summary of the ways to prevent our respective pollutants in the environment. So that brings us to the end of today's session.